Hi, my name is Kelsey. I'm a graduate student at the University of Houston Clear Lake, and today I'm going to be talking about snatches. Now, first, I'll go over the movement patterns from completing a full complete snatch. I'll be breaking it down into 5 movement patterns, the first being the starting position. So, our feet will be about shoulder to hip width apart, depending on the person. Knees and toes should be facing just slightly outward, just making sure those knees track the toes. You'll squat down until where about the shin meets the bar. The shoulders and hips are lowered. Shoulders will go over front on top of the bar. And your hands should be placed in a wide grip in a pronated position. You can either do a hook grip or a closed grip. I would recommend a hook grip. That's where your hand is going over the bar, thumb underneath, and you'll go ahead and put that thumb underneath probably your 2 or 3 of your forefingers. A hook grip is probably more recommended for lifts just because they're a lot more helpful for improving grip strength, as well as it'll be a lot more beneficial during near max or maximum lifts or loads. Going from your starting position, going into our first pull, our second movement pattern, hinging the hips back, shoulders over the bar still. You'll extend the knees and the hips at the same time. Don't let the hips rise quicker than the shoulders do. You want to make sure they move at the same time. You should feel that stretch a lot in your quads. Your head and torso is in a completely neutral position, maybe a slight natural curve in the spine. As the bar is raised, you'll want to keep the bar as close to your person as possible. From there, we'll transition into our third movement pattern, which will be either our transition or our hang position. So as the bar goes above the knees, you'll want to start firing from the hamstrings and in the hips to help raise the bar upwards to continue that movement up. The shoulders should still at this point be above the bar. From there, going into our second pull, extending the hips, knees, and ankles, propelling the bar upwards, shrugging the shoulders to its highest elevation. So a lot of that movement comes from pulling at the shoulders. To finally going into that catch, the body will start to drop underneath the bar as you continue to propel the bar upwards using those hips until it reaches that overhead position. The body is lowered to catch the bar at its near maximum height. In that final position, the elbows are fully extended, strict torso in a neutral position, bar overhead, and then you'll finally bring it down to a controlled drop, bringing that bar from up. Go ahead and drop it and letting the hands help it down. There are a lot of benefits from including a snatch movement into your program, some of which include the fact that it is a full body movement. It incorporates a lot of muscular hypertrophy. It improves general strength. It improves your rate of force development and your high intensity endurance training. It also helps improve core strength and mobility of the ankles, hips, wrists, and elbows. To implement this into an athlete's program, you'd want to make sure that the skills are transferable in that they incorporate a lot of power movements. So based off the said principle, the specific adaptations to an imposed demand, the body will adapt to the type of demands it's placed on. So not a lot of sports other than Olympic lifting incorporate the movement patterns that a snatch does. However, the snatch incorporates a lot of explosive power that is transferable to pretty much any sport like basketball, volleyball. Some contraindications for the snatch include if your sport doesn't go overhead. That's not to say that the snatch wouldn't be beneficial. However, it just might not be necessary to have that full range of motion within the shoulders because it could increase the risk of injury. Another contraindication would be if you have limited mobility. Again, that's not to say that you shouldn't perform the snatch. However, it means that you would probably want to build your way up to that snatch that might be incorporating more overhead squats into your program to help gain that mobility a little bit more. 2 common mistakes when performing a snatch is 1, having the bar move too far away from the body when going from that second pull to the catch. This can happen from an emphasis on hip extension, so putting too much into driving the hips forward could push the bar outward a little bit too much. or due to a lack of torso stiffness. So if your torso lacks that rigidity, it loses a lot of its momentum and therefore could overcompensate in bending of the arms and the elbows, so taking away a lot of the movements. Another mistake that goes into performing the snatch is adding too much weight. Now, this could be a problem for those who are more into powerlifting, just because we want to add all those numbers up. However, when performing a snatch or a lot of Olympic lifts, the emphasis isn't as much on the load as it is the speed of which you pull that weight up. So we're not as much focusing on how much weight we're adding as much as we are like the power that's generated and how quickly you can perform the movement as safe as possible. A way to help prevent adding too much weight is implementing proper progressions and making sure that you aren't progressing too quickly or adding too much weight too fast. I got my information from the Strength and Conditioning Journal, the National Strength and Conditioning Association, and the National Academy for Sports and Medicine. Thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day.